Happy Friday, Fight Right Warriors. Today there was a little bit of change of plan for me because my my bladder station, my turning point, that they had closed it off now, so there was like no way. And I found another little creek, and then this hilarious thing happened. You know how all my life has been, a psychological constipating person, as in I'm never constipated, but it's where I feel like I always hold it in. If I get stressed or don't have my perfect poop opportunity, so I always love the luxury poop. Sorry if that disgusts you, but I think it's good you know who I am and what I like to talk about, so you don't get the wrong kind of expectations of having me in your life. Today, I'm opening up my Messenger VIP group to start shuffling in my students of fitness life. And I'm so excited because I've never done this before this way. And I know what you all struggle with, what I struggle with too, is the continuous adherence to the lifestyle you want to be living. Sounds like, why don't you just do it, right? But that's people who haven't gotten to the level where it gets a little tough. So my intention is to take one of these chapters of a fitness journey one at a time and try to make you understand, so you do not spend so long time never figuring it out, because you're human and most people don't ever learn. And not about this diet. If you think about it, look at obesity, look at how fat people are, and that's the norm. People are not stupid, it's just very hard. It's very hard to expect of regular people to work so hard for what isn't even, it's not going to be rewarded by other people. You're going to be criticized too. So it takes a certain self realization that I have to do this for myself. And many people get that over and over because they're scared or thinking that, life reality hits, you realize what you're doing, suddenly you wake up and see, why didn't you stop? And then it might be too long has gone and you don't want to work for that long, so you have given up. I'm trying to not have that happen. So this is why I share the chapters of a fitness journey the way I have experienced it, and how pretty much everyone is going through the same in variable forms in my clients and so on. So first we have the weight loss motivation, or the get big to healthy. And then we have the body composition. It's the next tier where it's going to take more work, longer time. And again, remembering the more extreme definition you want, the more time you have to spend on building that up. It's not going to be there for you to lose the weight and then have a lean body, because you need to train to shape your body. So that's one thing that I can't wait to. Everyone is disappointed with Ozempic, because you cannot shape a body by simply just eating less. And it's not even, why would you want it? So for me, it's completely just crazy that people who are like me, who love to eat and just have too much love for it, why take that whole thing out and not have a feeling for wanting to eat, or having an easier, like if you medically change that feelings, I wouldn't want that, because this is my life quality. I love to eat. That's why I'm in life. The whole saying of don't live to eat, or like, what the heck, the clock, of course, that's what I do. My motivation to train hard is that I can eat. I wouldn't want to take away my biggest motivation. So that supersedes any aesthetic goals. But this is the good ultimate question for yourself. When you think, you believe you're working for goals of health, not aesthetics. What if you always kept on eating the way you do now, that got you these results, and you train the same way, and you're not going to get any further at all, ever? But you love how you eat and you love how you train, but your body's not looking like it. Would that keep you commitment to fitness life. Most people don't. I don't know. For me, no. That's why I had my fights. I wanted to have the results, and then I wanted to get away, and I didn't want to sacrifice. I wanted to have everything that is part of diet culture, the cheat day mentality and all that. So I was on that too. So I just didn't want to live like that. So this chapter after body composition is now what you want. You want to chisel your body. You don't want to have fat on top that covers the muscle definition. In this chapter, how you getting there might be that you started over, which means you couldn't keep your discipline. You let it go. You stopped doing what got your results. When you try to maintain, you don't know what to do with yourself. Coincident with anything in your life happens, now that is the kind of, oh, I couldn't keep up. It's just using something as an excuse or validation why you're not doing what you said you wanted to do. You're still stuck with the same lack of results or happiness, so it doesn't matter how you turn it, it's going to be that you are not getting what you want. The people who keep on starting over, let's say you're compliant for months at a time and get really lean and strong, go through the same cycle. You're gonna feel the blues, that you feel sad. You start to think about what's wrong with you. Feel so tired. Everything is like that. That is a typical way why people leave the lean life. Why they regain the fat despite saying they love how they feel. They love how it feels to be like this and they want to hold on to it. The whole holding on to it is a little problem because holding on means that you're fighting yourself. You're not really coming by free will. You're not doing it that you want to be it. So if you feel that you're doing this to keep yourself in control, you're gonna lose it. During this time so let's say after a few months you get diet depression, you have this, you love the body, but training isn't fun anymore. You're not getting the same pump. The workouts are stale. You start to agonize about your sets. The food you love to eat, like my heaven and bowl, you don't want it anymore. You have aversion to what what you fell in love with when you started this new project, the project body. So after months of focus, like there's a deadline, and now you stand there, usually have aligned that with a goal, graduation, wedding, contest, vacation. So you have there's no thing after your deadline where you're gonna be in shape. So now you work really hard, focused, and getting results because that's what happens when you focus doing what you need to do consistently. So you're happy. But then comes that time where you are either getting impatient that the results in leaning out doesn't come as repetitively over and over, day in, day out, like it does in the beginning, or after a few weeks. It's like this. If you have to build it up, and for me, it's build it up, build it up, build it up for 4 to 6 weeks, then I see a big change. That is no break in my discipline for 4 to 6 weeks. Just be on my defeat. That's how I get shredded. So the longer you keep on and building up the interval between defeat days and refeed, and definitely more the slower or like this, the less times, less pulses that become your cheat days. Like when you slip off, when you rebound back to the bad behavior because it's not helping you, it keeps you in the destructive, negative way of being rewarded by what you got away with, the negative and guilt. So now you are, let's say, a few months into your lifestyle. Now you don't want to live it anymore. And you might not even know how to get out of your diet depression because nobody's teaching you. That's why I'm here. So if you're like everyone else, you're going to be, and everyone listens to the other one, and everyone says, yeah, this sucks. So oh, it's too hard now, let's just start over. That's a yo-yo diet culture. And everyone in fitness life who's not committed to want to stay in shape. I mean, I'm not saying anyone should. It's really tough for someone who doesn't have the intrinsic motivation to stay lean, because you're not going to be happy doing it. Because already there it shows you had a reason to get leaner, means you like to eat, right? Now you're not going to have that pleasure anymore. It's going to be boring and bland food because you know how to eat and get in shape. That's what you say. Yeah, you do, but you don't know how to eat to stay in shape. Because then you don't want to keep doing it, so now you're out of options. You don't want to do what got you in shape, and then you don't know how to adjust to kind of have a new chapter. So you're stuck in a conundrum, and you don't know how to interpret your feelings. You're all over the place. It's like a storm, and you think this one, and then the next moment it's like just can't stop your mind about all the candy you want it, and then you know you're scared of it. So it becomes this storm. That gets exhausting. And if you ask anyone, they're gonna say, just have a cookie. Come on, what is worth it? You're not happy. They are taking you as when you're a crybaby, as when I was laying on the couch 3 days before my first competition in Sweden, and I was so hungry, and it was after months of willpower, and everything is ready, and I'm lean. I was so hungry, and it was so close to the finish line when I was gonna have all the pizza and chocolate, the Toblerone on my big wall mirror. I was gonna have that, and it was so close. So when you're so close, that's when you break. You break when you're so close to get to where you have your best version. So that was what I've been and have been building up, and how we all should be. It's like we are building up discipline by keeping on practice, and the practice is increase the interval time between negligent eating and eating days that are focused for what you want to achieve with all this you do. So the longer time between those sudden upshoots of calories coming in, the better the whole total sum of work you put in becomes. That's the butterfly effect. When you can't really explain it, there's nothing big that changes in weight and like Newton style, everything we can compare and measure. When you can't do that anymore, it's like you don't know what to do with your mind. It's very hard to accept that you don't understand something, because we've been told that if you don't completely understand how it works, you don't really understand it. Well, I'm going to say that that's tough to say, but we don't even understand the universe. We don't understand ourselves. We don't understand why we want one thing and then talk about another. So we have a lot of understanding to make. I wouldn't wait for someone to solve all this. Just solve it for yourself so you get out of life what you want. That's what I did. That's what I do. And I must say that having that, I don't need anyone's validation. I'm not looking for it. If I get it, great. But I know in any moment it's going to be the opposite. The criticizing of that I have an opinion, criticizing that I'm voicing myself, criticizing that I'm not complying, criticizing that I'm not following whatever people want me to follow, complying with all. So I'm not doing it because it's about me, my life, my body's for me. I'm just showing it for you. But I don't do it to say, hey, is this the body that I should have? Because I'm not asking the question. So you have to stand up for that too, to know that if you have lofty goals, you are not going to get anything out of hanging out with people who don't. Because they will never be able to support you. They don't have the knowledge, the experience, or the drive. So that's why you have to know you're not going to be likely to succeed if you never get out of where the same practice keeps up, the same routine of life, the pattern, the behavior you grew up with, just like me, or you go back to that. And you're most likely to do, because that's what you know. It's the comfort of knowing. Even the most destructive lives, abuse, and, still people go back to it because that's what they know. And that is more feeling like, oh, that's a better option than going for something you have never known, because that's filled with fears. You have no clue what you need to do. So in this chapter now, like if you're really stubborn now, you are disciplined, you're like me, who really want this to work. You're not just giving up, but you get these fights more and more. And now you're starting to get scared of that you're so hungry. So for some time, it can be easy to have no cravings anymore. But then they come back, and they usually come back when you are just leaner. So now you're getting your result, and you should be super happy, motivated. And you are, but now you don't get the reward of eating, right? So now that's the thing. You have the body, you don't know how to make yourself happy in eating, which is your favorite thing, just like mine. So now it doesn't matter how much you have the body. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make for you, that you could work all your life for the perfect body for yourself. You're still going to notice that you're always going to have other places, more stuff to work on, always. It's a striving. It's the nature of bodybuilding to never be satisfied. That's the nature of all things in humanity, of striving. Why we keep on crushing goals, that's part of us. But if you never learn that the striving has to be a place of you're striving, but you're enjoying every day you're doing it, it's the doing, not the end of the whole thing. You're not looking forward to the last day of your life when you're gonna die, right? I mean, when you're tired like me, yes, I always think that long sleep would be good. That's what I say when to keep comfort. I will have the deep sleep when I die. So until then, I'm just gonna keep on showing up. I'm not scared of being tired. I've been tired my whole life. I still overcome and conquer it. It's a state of mind. That's what I said. And keep holding. And I'm not gonna have an argument to debate about technically if it's true or not, because it's mind over matter again. So a few months in, let's say now you are getting more and more into diet prison, and you're scared of having a cheat day, and you're also maybe scared of having refeeds. The refeeds is the big savior of sanity and fitness and fat loss, because that is how you keep up. If there's never a way of refueling during your fat loss journey and then your maintenance, you are just living on willpower. You will never last. It's gonna not be what you do. You're gonna end up eating all you're trying to not have. So you're gonna fail at that. But trust me, everyone wants to fight me and say, well, I'm gonna be able to win it. You're just gonna make yourself more sad for a long time. Because it comes down to reality that all those goals in body are more smaller, and they're not huge. They're gonna be really about slowly changing your body. And if you have skin and fat and muscle to build, all those things, you just have to have an expectation of not really see anything unless you forget about looking, and then weeks later you're like, oh. So this is the chapter where you have to realize how you feel, your body in the gym, performance, sleep, happiness, all those things are what you have to look for. Because you cannot be living life happily, obsessing about how your body isn't perfect yet, how you're not losing fat at the rate you want, and all that. Because all you're doing is you become frustrated. And frustration just blocks you from living the lifestyle you need to do. So it's like almost like you're getting so mad at the moment. You keep on fighting how long. You're not ever enjoying it. So now you're just sitting and thinking about the future when your body's going to be at X, state. And now you notice that X state where you want it becomes loftier and loftier. You gotta push it forward, just like me, to the level you want. That's the whole nature. That's what I love about it. But people, it gets it too extreme because you never learn to enjoy it. You're just thinking about, I want the body, but I don't really want to live the lifestyle. It comes down to that. Because the lifestyle conundrum starts after it's no longer a project. So after a few months, let's say you are really lean, you're so happy, but you're also not, because you start to think too much. So you're like, oh, why do I feel this today? I'm like, yeah, ask your mind. It will want to have a lollipop. So don't ask your mind about things you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear have a cookie. I know you want to, but it's not the right voice. That's a life that you live. To always have whatever you want in your mouth when you want it, greedy mouth. So that's why you don't have the body to your liking. So after a few months then, now it becomes a rebellion that, what the heck are you doing this for? I don't want to do this. And then if you have one slip and you haven't had it for a long time, you're probably just gonna have no clue how powerful these cravings and the taste. And now you just lose that because you didn't see that coming. You were ignorant, you didn't want to practice, you didn't but you just wanted to down, deep down, fail so you could have your candy. So now you're back to square one. So now most people get so mad at themselves for having a day gone wrong, so it ends up with 2 or 3. Now you're back to where you were fat-wise months in the past. Now you're living there thinking that, oh, and you don't have new time to redo it. So this is new time repeating the work, which is what I kind of swore to myself to never do because it was just too hard. And you bet I kept on sabotaging myself anyway because that's what we do. Now, after a few months and you're lean and you want to maintain it, you don't know what to do. If you go for trying to have a moderate cheat meal and you haven't worked with the mentality of cheat, and why I say it's a stupid concept, don't keep up, just making yourself wanting to do it. It's like the ultimate fantasy sex story. When you can't have what you want it the most. I don't think it's just me. The men that I had to work the hardest for to seduce were the best passion stories of my life. So, same here. And the other option is that you are just staying sad because you think that being disciplined and just keep up is going to help you. Because you forget, how do you feel? And then you get scared because you have no plan. So when you're going to go home, like now it's soon, the Christmas and Thanksgiving, people go home to the environment where you poisoned yourself with all the stuff that you know is delicious. And now you're scared of that because the pressure and the feeling of shame and guilt, and it's just too much and you don't want to do it. I know. So many times I just, But I also had that I wanted to eat and kind of just, I can't help it. So there was this kind of not really at all committing. Not at all committing. I was just playing. I didn't know. But if I don't plan and do all I can and I don't get, make sure I plan and prevent and want to do it, I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm going to happy-go-lucky see how I can do this. And there is only spontaneous thinking. You're going to see what you're in the mood for. That is not how you build up discipline. It's too tough. That is the level of taking more time. So if you're struggling simply eating healthy, that is not gonna be the game you play yet. There's easier ones first. The easy one is to not have stuff at home that you don't want to plan on suddenly have too much of because you're gonna justify it. So typically, holy cows diet junk food, Lily's chocolate chips, peanut butter packs, crispy. I know you want your whole grain crackers to be phyto diet, fat loss friendly, but they're not. The opposite. They're moreish and they have no water. So there's just flour. Doesn't matter that it's stone ground. You're still gonna end up with calories. The other option is that after a few months, I forgot. The thing is that when you go and have an unplanned cheat day, and it wasn't what you planned, you're going to notice how that really upsets you about how you believe you behave. Your ideal you is not living up to it, and that is the fight. You feel like, oh, why do I do this? So now after your diet depression, you're going to go straight into cheat day. You never get to maintain. That's the thing. But you become a maintainer because the cheat day gone too overboard. And you know why? Because if you're never getting out of it and just staying the same or fattening up, or your body looks puffy up and it stays puffy after 2 days, not just water, you are overdoing it. So now this becomes where you maintain. So you're gonna keep on pretty much like everyone Cardio, 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 train, train, train. Be exhausted. Force yourself to stay, on this. You eat less and less to compensate, just to then fall for it again, that you get so hungry and you don't know what to do. So now you have a cheat day. You could have prevented it, but you don't want to because you want the cheat day. You want to start over because everyone else is doing it. You want it to work. So this keeps you from ever actualizing who you are in fitness because you just stop. So if this is what you do, the maintaining the life is going to be like a yo-yo dieter, that you work hard and then you regain it, and then you have to lose it again, and then you're going to regain it. There's no plan on losing it and keeping it off and then gain lean muscle over time and keeping on slowly detailing work through a lifetime. It's the forever project you think you don't want. It's the perfect thing to have. It's like this canvas of your life, your self-expression. What else are you going to do with your life? If you don't have fitness, what are you going to do? For me, what would I do if I had nothing this big to do? I mean, I would be a musician or writer, but it's so important to not take things that are tough and rewarding as a lesson for granted. Like, you want to have a little tough life. You don't want it to be, I had the body made by genetics and lifestyle, and I never had to think about a diet. Now I'm 50 and I have to try to change, and then now it's tougher because you have never had to be strong. So there's blessing in disguise in having tough time versus not. So this is what I mean, that yo-yo dieters stays in their shape because they have the intervals of leaving adherence to nutrition and then either justifying that they want the junk, and that's okay, I get it. These are the people who want to have junk and want to be fit. But those who can make that happen are not that many. If it was that easy, you wouldn't see anyone obese because it would make no sense. Nobody would choose to be fat if you don't have to. It's the food consumption, the food privilege, that's what gets you. So the trick is, when you want to maintain, is to really understand the diet depression is a problem. That you don't want to get out of it and on your own hold on to prison mindset and self-loathing, and you don't want to get yourself out of it. And that means you don't know how to make yourself happy. Because I know in any moment of those, I know what to do to change the way I think so I don't feel this entitlement or sadness that I have put upon myself. I'm choosing this lifestyle. You have to remember you're choosing this because you have goals. And if the goals are too lofty, address that, adjust them so you can succeed, and then step from there, like one level after another. This is the onion game. How do you maintain a lifestyle that you don't enjoy? I don't know, because you don't. The whole point is to learn what is amazing and rewarding and love it and see it as a forever activity you do. If not, you're going to be based on the same project of working hard and then letting it all go and come back and restart. You never go past that. So you become a typical flabby body. Like, you're not ever getting as lean for a competition because that's a whole other league. You're just playing the weight loss on the scale. So you are not losing fat because you never hold on that long that happens. Weight loss happens in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then after that, no more. So now, if you're that person who didn't stop your so-called lean body lifestyle with a cheat day that got overboard and you don't want to admit that it happened, and you go back now, you have to do all the cardio again that you could have adjusted. You didn't have to do that much if you stopped behaving like an erratic toddler around food. So now you have to work so much, and now you're going to wear out your joints more that you need on training. So everything just kind of amplifies. You're not going to be interested in do all the work for your body to keep it up. You don't want to stretch. You don't have time to train. You don't want to meal prep. You don't want to eat. You have no time. I mean, everything is negative. So then, of course, you're not going to do it because you don't want to be it. You don't want to be what you want to be in your mind. You just want to live a lie. It must be that, right? So now the other kind of person is the one who learns that if you don't rebound and eat all inside, you do refeeds, you do proper, you practice patience and asking yourself, why am I doing this? Not just spontaneously grabbing because you just want to be that kind of low level person who just does things like, if I get in a mood here to shoot someone, should I do it? No. But so you have to think, like, why do you let yourself? Why don't you have a leader for yourself? Say, hey, I know you want it, but it's not good for you. And it's not good for you to have just what you want in any moment because it makes you a weak person. How are you going to be like that when you have real struggles in life? You're just going to go and just give up? It's not easy with this moment, so I'm going to pretend that I'm going to be stronger next. Any of those moments you choose that, you become weaker. Every time you go back on your plan you made for yourself that you thought out, you are going back on your word, and that becomes destruction in your self-relationship. You don't believe in yourself. And I agree, you can't, because you're just showing you're not anyone to believe is legit or is real or honest. So then you're gonna notice, you're gonna start thinking that that's everyone else, because that's how we are. You're gonna think that everyone is lying. They are getting away with whatever, and then you think, what are they doing that I'm not? The people who get results are living it. They're not pretending. So let's say now that you didn't have a cheat day, you're doing refeeds, so you don't have this new of, I lost 10 pounds. This is the thing you have to know. You don't re-lose 10 pounds. If you go on a willpower diet and then end with a cheat day, you are regaining and then re-losing the same. If you don't follow that, so after a product time of diet depression, you are not stopping that with an interval of a cheat day. You are refeeding, staying lean, getting leaner, having the thermic effect of how to eat and so on. Everything is coherent to the lifestyle of fitness. Then you're going to notice that this is where it suddenly get into a stronger and stronger critical mass has been achieved in results. And now you notice the butterfly effect that you have been working. It's like you plant a seed and then you went out of the country, you come back, now it's in bloom. But if you sit there and wait and look every day, you're not going to see that. And I don't know how to explain how it can't be any different much in the scale, or how tiny you have to be, that no woman who's like lean as me is going to ever be big unless there's some special, if you know. And I don't know. I can only stand for myself, for what I do, what I know. And that's another thing I want to tell you, that I have so little interest in that. That's why I don't talk about what people do that I don't, because it's like, okay, about things that aren't healthy for you. It's about focusing on what I love and what I'm about, and not about everything that I don't want, because if I do, that becomes everything. It's like the negativity just keeps on. And that is what you allow yourself to feed into. The frustration that you're not seeing results fast enough, that you understand it's going to take time, but you still want to have a special treatment, that you think you have patience, but no, you're asking every other month, every week. You want to see things that I say, it's not going to be where you see it. You really have to get into the regular doing, to stop looking at results in looks as that's your only thing you do this day in, day out. That you can't do after a few months. It's going to come in cycles of more focus on goals with the body, and then you're going to have something else. It's going to be a maintenance routine at sometimes. That's the different varieties of life. You're not going to have the same routine forever. Essentially, why you struggle with keeping up results is not that you don't know what to do, how. You just don't really want to, because it gets monotonous and boring. If you don't learn what makes you happy and keep on giving you that, like a love language, you are gonna fall out of fitness life simply out of boredom. And you're gonna want to be hanging out with your friends who are not at all living your lifestyle. because you're a social animal. You kind of don't want to be alone. That's what most people are. So you just choose to be and enjoy instead of being criticized. And then it's easy to say you just do what your friends do and kind of use them as an excuse and talk about how they are so bad. It only affects you. So it's really good to kind of think about what do you expect is going to happen after a few months of compliance? Like after 2 to 4 months, 6 months, what do you think is going to happen? Don't make it into this end of the tunnel. There's no continuation. And now you're standing there noticing that your body wasn't at all made done to finish yet. You have still work to do. And then you don't know what to do. You think that was a mistake. It's just ignorance. You don't know the levels to the levels to the levels. You just build them up with the same system, and the system will demand a little bit more over and over. But the more you learn about your management of yourself, to stop doing your erratic behavior up and down that is not conducive to what you say you want to achieve, the easier, the faster you're going to be there. I mean, imagine if I had fighter diet and I had a coach. I, if I would have lost, I have solved this for a long time. I must say one thing too, I'm going to complain. You know, drivers don't look right. They just look left. So they are just ramming over me as a pedestrian every time here. And they have no interest in learning. And when I sometimes have knocked on the window, oh, they don't even want to recognize because listen, I'm a pedestrian. They look down on that here. Well, anyway, stay safe in traffic. See you in the FDA today. So I'm opening up the Messenger VIP. It's a 2 weeks routine starting Monday. I'm super excited. I really want to show it what it's like to have someone around, your fitness friend, who you're listening to instead of having all these voices who just give you all the facts and you want to listen to them. And then you want to talk to me about them. And I'm like, why do you even waste any time on this? It's really wasting your time. I don't want to debate about what I have no interest and no belief in. So I'm sorry. I'm protecting my own, what I like in my life. And I'm not hanging out with people who never want to stop talking about how everything is unfair. It's really, really boring. Because you think that everything's fair for me? No, I just know this is life. I'm not going to ask to be fair. We just handle it the way we do. And that's the way.